Hi, it's Darren Hunter here, and I'm with Dennis Youssef. We are from Inspired Growth Training. We are on the PM Growth Experts Day, where we only interview the very, very best growth experts on the planet. And we welcome Laura Levison. How you going, Laura?
Hi, everyone. Hi,
Now,
Dennis and Darren.
we are very much in the presence of property management royalty here. Let me explain. Laura is the Director, Principal and Department Head and BDM for M Residential based in South Perth, Western Australia. Of course, if you know anything about South Perth, it's a real upmarket area, certainly a tough area, and they are a prestigious brand. Dennis and I, we've known Laura for many, many years, and she's known as a quality property management agency with quality fees in that marketplace. Now, Laura is certainly one of the most awarded property managers in Australia. I would say probably Australasia. She has taken out the top or best property manager for the year for REIWA, which is a Real Estate Institute of WA. She's taken that out 3 times, plus she has taken out twice and is the current Real Estate Institute of Australia Residential Property Manager of the Year. So that's why we believe we're in the presence of property management royalty. And Laura, of course, we know you really well. We know you're very, very good at what you do. But before we get going, we've just got to give a quick plug for our exclusive partner, which is myconnect.com.au. They're our utility connections. Now, if you're dealing with any utility connections right now, if it's not MyConnect, you are dealing direct with the power company, which means you have a lack of choice. Of course, MyConnect are independently owned. They're not owned by the power company, which means they have a much greater choice. Go to myconnect.com.au. If you sign up with them on your 10th connection, you will get a free iPad. So very good offer. Go and check them out. Some great guys to work with. Lots of raving fans around Australia. Anyway, let's get back to the program, Dennis. Over to you.
Yeah, so absolutely. You know, I mean, one thing about conferences, Darren, is you really get to meet and connect with people. Most of the time when you go to a conference, it's all about, you know, the content of what's being trained. And as we know, we both obviously run, you know, the Inspired Growth Conference. And but a majority of the time, it's about the connections that you make at the conference. So I remember meeting Laura at a conference, and I just announced that I was leaving real estate and I was going into coaching, I was going into consulting. Laura comes up to me at the bar. That is correct, at the bar. Not at the conference, but at the bar. Holding a tambourine, she was. Okay? And she said, I am going to win awards like you, and you are going to train me. I want you to help me. You know, and now I cannot take any credit for any award that Laura has won. But back then, that's 5.5 years ago, she had the determination, she set her goals, and look at her now. So, you know, absolutely amazing to have her on.
I just want to add, you know, Laura, right back in 2007, when I first started working in Perth with increasing and adding fees, and you were the very, very first office that I worked with on this level, because everybody in Western Australia and in Perth had a lease renewal fee of $44, $55, $66, something really low and meaningless like that. And we went straight in and started doing a 1 week's lease renewal fee, which has never been done before. Everyone said it can't be done, won't be done. You were the very first office where we successfully implemented it. You then rolled it out with your current clients, of course, with your new business, and then bit by bit, your competitors took it on board. I work with a lot more agencies on it, and it's now become a well-established fee with a lot of agencies across Western Australia, and the whole legacy of that started in your office. So we've got a great connection going right back to 2007.
So you're saying that Laura was your first. Well, guess what? She was my equal first client, Darren.
There you go. That's great. So Laurie, very special layers. So Dennis, over to you. Let's get the interview underway.
Okay, we've spoken about our first experiences in our training. So what about you? Why did you actually join real estate in the first place, Laurie?
Well, firstly, after what you guys have just said to me, can I just say that having mentors like you guys is what has propelled me to where I am now. And as a business owner, I thought that I was always doing the best that I could to achieve the highest I could. But you guys just drop these like little bombs over, and like these massive light globes go off. And it's like, well, you know, who said it can't work? We can make it work. If it's an idea, just keep battling it till it works. So thank you massively to you guys.
I'm going red.
Oh, don't be shy, don't be shy. But what got me into real estate to start with? Doesn't everybody just decide that this is where their career wants to be? Maybe not. I didn't finish high school. I decided I wanted to get out into the big wide world and the workforce. And my very first job out of school was in a real estate agency as a receptionist. Sort of worked there within a year, was promoted into property management and absolutely loved it, which is weird for some people to think. But loved it, saw my vision and found my little space in the world of where I wanted to be. Fast forward years and I'm now still in the exact very same office, but now licensee and director. So didn't move very far.
Yeah, so from high school dropout to director of a business.
That's it, high school dropout.
Danny, she got the same high school qualifications.
I do, and so do you, Darren.
I was a university dropout. I finished my year 12.
But that's just it. I think it just shows you that if you have a passion for what you're doing, unless of course you need to be a doctor and you need that skill, if you've got a passion for what you're doing, you know, you will be successful in whatever you do because it's what you live for, it's your why.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, spot on. It's so important to have those. So, I mean, can we just clarify on the doctor of real estate? But anyway, let's move on. So tell us about your office. Tell us about your area, your, you know, a little bit about your office.
Yeah, so as you mentioned before, we're in Western Australia, God's country. Sorry, Dennis.
You're stirring the pot there, Dennis. I thought you were living in God's country.
No, I live in God's country. Thank you very much.
I tell you what, Perth have the most underrated beaches in all of Australia. I mean, the Gold Coast has got nothing on your beaches.
Thank you, thank you. And the people that go to the beaches are even nicer. So we're in South Perth, which is within like a 5K radius to the CBD, or we're just across the river from the CBD. We're a boutique agency, so we run under our own branding. We have a number of high quality properties, but we also have the affordable properties. So there's still quite a number of apartments in South Perth. So our rents can be as high as, you know, $1,500 to $1,800 per week. And they can even come down as low as, you know, $350, $370 per week. So we've got
if I can just ask, some of those apartments out there on the foreshore, South Perth there, what are some of those apartments worth with that view of the city skyline? What are some of those apartments selling for?
Yeah, selling or renting?
Oh, selling. What would some of them be selling for? How much? And then
there was one just recently down the road from us, which overlooks the car park before you get to the river, and I think that sold for $7 million.
Wow. And what sort of rents do those same type apartments get?
So that property there, probably a rent of around about, I'm going to say per week, 3,000. So 12,000 a month, or just over 12,000 a month. So
for our Americans, that's $13,000 a month in rent. So that's amazing.
And you know, we're on the edge of the river, so where South Perth is, we overlook the river and then we get the city backdrop. So in the nighttime, it's just spectacular. You've got all of your, you know, city lights reflecting off the river, and it's really beautiful.
Absolutely, I love it.
Nice. So that's excellent. So, and how in your office structure that you've got how many staff working for you?
Okay, so I've got 2 full-time property managers, 1 part-time property manager, and then I have a head of department. We then have a separated leasing team. So the leasing team only show properties to prospective tenants. So we sort of broke up a little bit of the roles of our what our property managers are doing, and then of course myself as BDM. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so just quickly wanted to show you the beaches where I'm living. Okay, so if you can Google Jervis Bay, that you'll be able to see them.
I won't put up our beaches. You'll see too much seaweed.
Whatever, guys. Whatever.
So what's been your growth? I mean, I remember, you know, you guys, you had a team growth goal. Once you hit 400 properties, you were going to go on a holiday, etc. So you do involve the team, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But so what's been your growth that you've had?
So, sorry, meaning like what?
In the last 12 months.
In the last 12 months?
Yeah.
Yep. So we've grown the rent roll by another 86 properties. So that's how we've built up. To give you a bit of an idea of where the Perth market is at the moment, we have had quite a big downturn. So we have seen that some owners, or a big number of owners, have gone and put their property on the market for sale, and sort of come out of the investing sphere just purely because of economic times and rents that have reduced over the last few years due to the Perth market.
Yes, the sales have obviously, they've picked up in the last 12 months, haven't they?
They have. And, you know, it's been a really interesting market in South Perth, because we went through a portion of time there where not only was, you know, rents down and rentals high vacancies, but also the sales side of the market had declined as well. So it's been interesting and challenging times, but a good opportunity for us to, you know, look at our systems and our procedures and say, well, hang on, how can we do things different, better, so that we're attracting, you know, good quality tenants and you know, grabbing hold of whatever in the market we can.
Yeah, which is really good, because I mean, there's those times of reflection where you can improve, and that's one thing that, you know, you do. You go to training and you implement, and that's something that Darren and I always complain about. It's actually the first thing that we talk about when we're at an event or we're doing a keynote, whatever. You know, go book an appointment with yourself, with your boss, spend 2 hours and, you know, do it. And that's something you do really well. Yeah. So, Laura, if you were to be here, this is you here now, and this here is you when you first started in real estate, the very first day, you're about to walk into the door, and then in comes Laura today and taps you on the shoulder. What advice do you give yourself?
If everybody is running that way, go that way. Don't run with the masses and do exactly what the masses are doing. Think outside the square. Interestingly enough, today I was having a conversation with one of my mentors, and the conversation was on the leasing side of things is we just do what we always do, but why aren't we sort of embracing and grasping what sales reps do to market their properties, you know, the before, the after. Why aren't we doing that on the leasing side? And it's because, you know, we all look at this thing of property management of this is how it's always been done. And we don't look to the changes to say, well, how can we do it differently? How can we do it better? And the perfect example would be professional photography. Sales have been doing professional photographs for how long? And it's taken years, you know, before property management has taken that on board. And even now, I still see agents out there.
In your marketplace in South Perth, that's still not.
Yeah. And it amazes me, because grasp whatever technology you can out there and just think outside the square. Think outside the square.
Yeah, and you certainly do that. I mean, you're doing 360 videos, etc. Yeah. You know, I mean, Laura, what you're doing for property management, you're actually in front of sales. You're doing stuff that sales agents aren't even doing. So, you know, you are a testament to walking that way if everyone's going that way. So, you know, well done.
And I think, you know, Darren, you can agree to this. I used to have on my front office window, you know, that we do video tours of all of our properties.
Two things you did.
One of my competition could see that.
2 years that sign was up in that front window at Mill Point Road. It's a busy road. Your competition will be driving past at least once a day. And you had that on there for 2 years advertising. You do walk-through video inspections, and quick plug to Todd from virtuallyincredible.com, I think, that gave you the initial training, but also you had the online booking system with Inspect Real Estate as well. And for 2 years, you said your competitors, you advertised it to make sure everybody knew about it, but yet they did nothing. I think you said not even one person in the area replicated successfully the points of difference that you had freely advertised.
Darren, even today, a lot more people are doing Inspect Real Estate online booking system, but even today, I could count on less than one hand my local competition who are doing a video. I mean, we've taken it to the next level of virtual reality tours, but they're not even doing, you know, the basic video that I first started with, you know, 5 or 6 years ago. So
I'll just interject here, but people, if you want to have a look and take a look at the video marketing that's going on with M Residential, go to mresidential.com.au, and I think you'll find those videos there. But, you know, well done. This is how you are a high fee charging agency in the area where you walk in. I'm sure you're against cheaper agents all the time. And this is how you compete on service and value instead of fees.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there's been times where I've had, you know, owners say to me, I can get cheaper down the road. And it's just making them aware, well, if you can get cheaper down the road, why are you still talking to me? Obviously, I'm offering you something that the cheaper agent isn't offering you. So at the end of the day, you pay for what you get. And one of the best things I can say I can do is bring in my little goggles and put my phone in there and just let them experience what a virtual reality tour is with goggles on, and sold.
Yeah, which is really cool. Can I just say, Darren, I'm not sure if you're aware, it was about 12 months ago. It could have been 12 months to the day. It'd be really close. Laura rings me up. She rings me up with the full idea of what she's going to do. I want to be the first agency in Australia to do it. I want to do 360 tours. And I went, sorry, too late. I'm doing it.
But not in WA, not in WA.
And that, of course, with Michael Sands, and Michael will actually be on this program shortly. So watch out for the interview with Michael Sands to come up in the near future.
Yes. He beat me, but he was in a different state.
But yeah, anyway, so but that goes to show she's always ringing. She's looking for the high things. Okay, so now, Laura, today you start a brand new rent roll from scratch. Zero. Forget about where you are now, but you're starting.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there that are starting businesses on their own. They're not sure on what to do. What are your top 3 rent roll growth strategies that you'd put in place?
Yeah. Well, firstly, take a look at what you do in real estate. Like, who are you doing transactions with? So it goes back to settlement agents, mortgage brokers, accountants, developers, everybody that has a part of a real estate transaction has a massive amount of database of contacts, and they would be the first people that I would go and approach. And see if we could, you know, set up an alignment so that we can both benefit each other's businesses. Local businesses, see if we can set up partnerships there, whether it's the local coffee shop or the local great, you know, restaurant. You know, take a look at what is currently on the market for sale that's sitting in back pages, which would probably say that they've been on the market for a long time. Make contact with those people, see if they, you know, prefer to rent it out rather than, obviously, they're not selling it. Yeah,
well done. So, I mean, community focus is a big area that people don't focus on. And can I just add there, Darren, she did talk about, you know, hitting up the sales. Again, you know, these top performers, they're not relying on the salespeople to grow the rent roll. No. But you will still get those contacts coming through, but absolutely. There's so many other avenues out there. Okay, so I'm going to paint another picture for you. Monday morning, you already know the bulk of emails that are going to be there, the staff that you've got working in there, they're going to talk about their weekends. but the phone call's on 9 o'clock and it's your bank manager. And your bank manager says to you, Laura, I've looked at your financials, etc. If you don't list 10 properties this week, I'm closing the doors. I'm shutting everything. What do you do? Go.
Okay, I'm contacting all of my owners to see if they've got other properties that they may not have with me or any friends with properties that they are aware of. Tenants, the exact same thing. My staff, see if they know of anyone from being out on the weekend and speaking at barbecues. I would go through my entire database of people and make contact with them again. I would do a marketing campaign on Facebook and sort of target into social media and see what I can get from there. Go to local businesses, see if I can put up flyers. I would get those 10 properties. I'm not going out of business.
No, and I've got no doubt you would get those 10 properties.
Other than that, I'd stand out on Mill Point Road, like with a big sign, you know, maybe in a bear outfit.
That's cool.
Facebook that. Facebook that. That's
yeah, we want to see that.
Facebook,
next to all those lineup of them residential cars that you have parked out the front in a fleet.
Absolutely. Put on, you know, a platter of M Residential cupcakes, which we're famous for, and, you know, how can they not sign up with us?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Laura. Now, again, you are a prestige property management agency dealing with, you know, upper middle class, upper market. So what has been the main, you know, strategies that allow you to achieve 80% of your growth? What are your big 3 strategies that you push that gets you the best results?
Yeah, I think it's highlighting my points of difference. So if I can, you know, if I'm not successful at a listing presentation, I come back and I look at myself and say, well, hang on, how didn't I sell my points of difference? So I think having a unique set of points of difference is a huge player in being able to obtain those extra fees or those higher fees and really believing that you're worth it. You know, I have an amazing team here who support me, and if I'm in front of a client saying this is what we'll do and we're building these expectations, I need to be confident that my team are coming up with those goods as well. So I think points of difference is so important. And I mean, we've already discussed some of my points of difference, those 360 virtual reality tours, the way we use our online booking system, having a separate leasing team, which means that, you know, they are on the road 24/7, maybe not 24/7, but they're on the road, and their only role and their only task is to show vacant properties to, you know, prospective tenants. That's a huge thing. If a property manager is trying to fit that into her day of, you know, routine inspections, lease sign-ups and maintenance, something's going to give, and it's generally leasing.
So what you're expressing is really that you're getting a lot of warm leads, you're getting a lot of referrals because of this high level of service and points of difference that you give.
Yeah, absolutely. And really believing and being confident that we are worth these fees. You know, no different than when we initiated the lease renewal fee, and it was a fee that's never been charged before. Well, hang on, it's a service that we're providing. It requires a fee to reflect the service. You know, to take it another step, I gave my team a bit of a throwback on that, where they received a commission based on the lease renewals that we were able to charge out to our clients. So that meant that they were eager to ensure all their properties were in a fixed term lease, as well as negotiating the highest rent possible, because it was reflective of what we were receiving. So,
and that's a point of difference in itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the high vacancy market that you have, a lot of people leaving at the end of the lease because they could have got a cheaper property elsewhere because the rents were going down.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. But okay, so let's just pretend we're in a listing presentation and the owner says to you, well, look, Laura, if you can match your management fee with XYZ Realty down the road, we'll go with you. You know, what's your usual line, your usual script, you know, that you'd usually use to deal with that one?
Yeah, well, Mr. Landlord, you're speaking to me and you're not speaking to the cheaper agent. So obviously you see a very difference in level of service that you'll be receiving with M Residential. So what is it about M Residential and what we're able to offer you that this other cheaper agent isn't offering you? Because obviously you see the value of that. And where it might feel like you're paying extra money now, in the long run, it's actually going to save you money if it's a matter of that we, lease your property a week earlier because of the technology that we use. You've already wiped out whatever discount that other agent is giving you.
It's okay. So let's talk about, I hear agents all the time saying, Darren, the owners are only interested in cheap fees. And now I know, because we've worked with you on your fees, you are right at that upper end. I wouldn't be surprised if you are the most expensive agent in your marketplace.
I hope so.
But the point is that you're always up against cheap agents.
Yeah.
Your message to those agents that feel that owners only care about cheap fees, they only want to get discounts, and the need to be competing against the other agent with fees, and that pressure is on. Well, what have you got to say to them?
I've got to say to them that everybody, actually, let's go back a step. And Darren, you were a part of this. Before we went through that process of, doing our new fee structure, just in that little bit of fear that I had, we put out a survey to all of our clients. And one of the key questions in that survey was, when you were looking to secure an agent, what were the main, priorities that you were looking at before you chose what agent to proceed with? And I put down, the general ones that you get. So is it, their presence in the marketplace, their knowledge, their expertise, their fees, and a few others. Now, I know when I go to a listing presentation, one of the first questions that everyone asks me is, will you negotiate on your fees? Yet looking back at that survey, people marked that as the number 2, number 3 most important factor in their decision making. So it was a real eye-opener for me to see that with this culture of people that always look for a discount and ask for a discount, it's not necessarily the decision making or the main decision making item. So it was a good experience and a good eye opener for me. So I have to say to those agents out there that just think that they have to reduce their fees to win the business, don't. And set a challenge for yourself, go out there and in your mindset say, no, I'm not going to reduce my fees. I'm going to do everything else possible, to win the business without reducing my fees. And
well, Laura, we know if you believe you're worth it, you're worth it, you believe it. Yeah. They can see it in your eyes, they can see it in your heart, and they will believe it too.
And they get connected to your passion in it. So yeah.
Speaking from your heart.
And I think it's fair to say people do ask for a discount because we're in real estate. It's the game. That same owner that asks you for a discount and negotiating won't go and ask for a discount on a burger down at McDonald's, and they won't ask for a discount buying something at Kmart, but they'll ask you because you work in real estate, you must be on commission, therefore everything's negotiable. They're just playing the game. I think it's all about how you respond with confidence, standing, by your ground. And in most cases, you're going to get over the line if you believe you're worth it and then know how to justify it. So well done.
It is. And also, if I'm quick to say, yeah, I'll reduce, what are their assumptions of me when I'm trying to increase their rent or negotiate a new lease for their tenant? Am I just going to go, oh, okay, or am I going to fight hard for what I feel it's worth and where the market should be? So, it works both ways. And that's a conversation I can easily have with that owner, saying, well, would you want me to negotiate this easily, with your tenant when they see that they should be paying a cheaper rent? And the answer is always no.
Look, some great nuggets in this interview already. This is really good. Yeah. Lots of learning out of this one. That's great.
It's interesting, Darren. I mean, if you were going to a heart surgeon, would you ask him for a discount?
Sure.
I mean, what part of the surgery do you not want me to do?
I don't want you to connect that to that.
No. So, I mean, yeah, I understand it's not a surgery, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but we look after your property like it's a surgery. this is our area of expertise. I mean, we laugh at it, but it hits you in the face. So there's a new script that I'm going to start training on.
It does. And also when you go back to numbers, and one of the biggest ones is if we lease your property just a week quicker than this other agent who's not offering all of this technology to ensure that your property gets leased quicker, you know, whatever discount, I know it looks like a big discount to you because it's 1 or 2%, but in your pocket, it's actually, you're better off paying more money, getting it leased quicker than going with a cheaper agent.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was training an office today, and they told me that they had an owner, and the owner would not budge on the price. $450 a week they wanted, and they couldn't get them down to $400. Right? 16 weeks it sat vacant for. It equated over 12 months. They would have been better off renting the house for $128 a week less. $128 less is what they ended up getting. They would have been.
And if you can bring those examples to the table when you are doing these negotiations, it's, you know, they can't argue with that. It's right there in front of you. It's figures. It's, you know, they can't change that.
No, not at all. Okay, so just moving on, Laura, what KPIs have you got on for yourself there with regards to, you know, chasing new business? So what have you got some KPIs, examples that you can share with us of things that you do? What tasks have you got to win more business?
Yeah, so I pretty much work with an ideal week because I'm a busy person and I'd like to stay structured. I deal with an ideal week where my days are segmented to say, okay, you know, for these 2 hours, this is exactly what I will be working on. And it'll be like my BDM portion of my role. It'll then come down to the licensee portion of my role. It will then come to, you know, in my KPIs, I still see the value of making sure that the department is running like clockwork so that as I'm bringing on new business, they're actually able to cope with it. I then look at ways to say, well, how can I reward them so that when I walk in the door saying, hey, I've got another property, they're all jumping for joy, saying, I'll have it, instead of like hiding under, you know, their tables to say, oh, I don't think I can take another property on. So it's, you know, it's not just about getting on the phone and getting out there in front of people and doing, you know, what involves BDM, but it's also just making sure that the, you know, the base that we work with, I think I call it my heartbeat, you know, is able to work with that as well, and they get rewarded through the process as well, so that it builds up loyalty with my team, because nobody wants a revolving door at the front of their office.
No, not at all, and it is a common thing. And Laura, both Darren and I have been in your office multiple times. If there's an office that I've been into that possibly yours. So, and we've both experienced the culture. I mean, every time I've come in, you know, and the way you train your staff. I mean, young Elise was at the front counter the first time I walked in there, and I remember I rang your office the first time and I said, get that girl in property management, you know, and she worked her way up, and you know, it's happened, I think, 3 times.
Yeah, and you know, if I look at myself, I came in off the street with no experience at all, and here I am years later, you know, the licensee and director of M Residential. One of my philosophy, which you guys know, is I don't employ anyone with any previous real estate experience, and that's because I want to be able to employ people on their passion and their attitude. I can't teach that, and I can't give that to them. I can teach them the skills. So I've set up really good procedures and that in my team and my office, and we've got a good buddy system, mentor system, and it builds really good loyalty, and it gives people the opportunity to see property management or real estate as a career and see how they can progress within it and not get bored with it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it does. So, well, Darren, I won't be dropping my resume in because she won't employ someone with experience. I won't apply for that leasing job. I mean, that's so Laura, now earlier I shared about, you know, you had a goal, you know, originally you had a goal for 400 and you took the team to Bali once you hit 400, which I thought was amazing. So what's your next goal? What's the goal and how are you going to achieve that?
Okay, so the next goal is we want to smash that 500. Part of that goal has also been implementing and bringing on board virtual assistants, which is what I'm working really hard at the moment. And that's to sort of release some pressure away from the team so that they can, you know, look after more properties and do more of, you know, we deal with property, but really it's about building relationships, and it's that face-to-face connection. So for my team to be able to do that, you know, I need to take away some of that, you know, back end admin stuff. Yeah. So my aim is to get all of that working like clockwork, reach the number of 500, and then we're off again. I'm thinking probably Thailand.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you really get the whole team involved, you know, and
absolutely.
It's the essence of the culture. It really comes back. I believe that a BDM, if there's great culture within an office, you are going to win more business, because, you know, you're the salesperson of the office. And if you've got great culture, great systems and procedures behind you, you are going to win more business, because, Laura, it's not you they're signing with, it's your company, it's your people.
Yeah. And they're the heartbeat. I'm here selling, saying, hey, this is what we'll do, and I'm building expectations for my client. I then need to be confident that when I walk away, I step away and hand it to my team, that those expectations are met. I think one of the best things I can say is that I'll get a phone call from one of the team members, and they'll say, oh, just letting you know I'm on my way home. Now that's not then going to their personal home. They actually call the office home, and it like gives me little goosebumps every time that they say that, but they see this, you know, as their home. And I guess that's a, you know, big eye opener to how they see, you know, their workplace and their culture, which is really important. I think, you know, some employers or some offices don't see the value of a good culture and a good team culture. I think that is one of the major important things of what has made M Residential so successful.
Perfect.
Okay, so we'll just last question now, Laura, and we'll wrap things up. But now you have already spoken at the Inspired Growth Conference, so this is twice. So this is something you're familiar with, but let's just say you're in front of a whole room at the conference of BDMs and bosses, and you've got 1 minute to impact them. What's going to be your message at the Inspired Growth Conference if you just had 1 minute?
Okay, I think I would have to talk about what is your why? Why do you get out of bed every morning? You know, do you have affirmations written down, and do you read them every morning and every night? Without that, how do you know where you want to be and why you're doing what you're doing? You know, I am driven by things like that. And there's nothing more rewarding than going to my affirmations and like crossing it off because I reached it, and then having to replace it with something else. So I think you got to dig deep into why you're doing what you're doing. You know, if you love what you're doing and you're passionate about it, you know, set yourself goals which are higher than what you think you're going to be able to achieve, and just work hard and smash them. And if someone says you can't do that, prove them wrong. Like, use that as energy to
you don't like the word can't, do you, Laura? You can't say, Laura, you can't do that, because you're going to go and show them how you can. That's one thing we've learned about you, Laura. So
what's that?
Well, that no one can say to you, Laura, you can't do that, because you will specifically go out and prove them wrong. And that's what we know and we love about you. You're very, very good at that, and you just smash it. You're competitive like Dennis, you know. So
might be the Taurus in me. Are you guys Taurian?
All right. Well, let's wrap things up. But Laura, that was a really, really good interview. You're a quality agent getting quality fees. You've proven the fact that you are a high achiever competing on service and value. So thanks so much for your time. It's a real honor and pleasure to do this interview. Really enjoyed the video format as well. And I know this has brought out, you know, and shown everyone the very best of who Laura Levison is, one of the biggest hitters that we're aware of in property management. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, absolutely, Laura. You know, just listening to you, being here, you know, I feed off your energy. You know, it's great having you on board. You know, each time you have a conversation with you, you might be asking the question and we might say something, then you take it up a notch, and that's what's great about you. So people will be able to catch and see why, you know, you've won multiple awards. So congratulations and thank you.
Now, Laura, if people have any questions, can they, what's your email address?
Absolutely. Laura, Laura, at mresidential, so just the letter M, word residential.com.au. Fire through whatever questions, more than happy to give you my thoughts.
All right, well, we're all done, but thank you so much for your time, Laura, and great interview. Certainly this is going to go down as one of our best, so thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks, Laura.
Mwah.